You ever been told that you're wrong in so many ways that you realize you're probably right? Ellie, are you a little spoiled? I think so. We have had such nice weather here the past, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That we have had some major growth in the garden, like big time growth. And we realized we hadn't showed you in a while, so we wanted to give you a little update, see if everything's working out, and give you some tidbits on the way. So our carrots over here have finally germinated. It still wasn't the best germination rate that I've ever seen. Like
they were old though.
Yeah, this row right here is pretty slim. This one did pretty good, but we didn't label them. We'll have to see when they come out. But like right here, this isn't gonna work. You can replant some of these, but you do need to thin them out, or you're gonna get itty bitty little carrots down there all twisted together. So you kind of want to just pull those out a little bit, give them a little space, and they'll thrive away.
Just a little note, with them being older seeds, germination rate can go down, but we also planted these with the kids. We did it as a family thing, so we didn't have maybe the best of spacing and all that, but we got it done, and it was a really good day, and it was a lot of fun, and we'll get a lot of carrots. We just have to work a little bit harder and thin them and make sure that they have enough room.
Right. The beets are starting to come in nicely. We had already went through and thinned quite a few of these, but we are really excited for some pickled beets this year. Beets are so underrated. I feel like they kind of get just like poo-pooed off, and people don't grow them enough, but it's one of our favorite canned items and fermented items as well. We love pickled beets. If you feel like you don't like beets because they're a little too earthy, try them pickled, get you a different flavor. You don't have to get like the dark Detroit reds. We have some yellow and orange beets in there that are a little less earthy tasting, but my goodness, a cold pickled beet in a salad is something fantastic.
Yeah, we also use them to juice with too.
Yeah.
Grow those big beets or little ones, it doesn't matter, and put them in your juice in the morning, and it's so good, and it just really makes your juice.
Yeah, and you still have time to grow beets. People really just don't grow them because they don't want to waste the space, but you can plant them right now, direct sow them in the ground. They're fine if you have some freezing temps coming, and they're pretty fast to get to maturity.
Yeah.
And speaking of quick to maturity, radishes, the #1 item that is the quickest to maturity. Look at there, we've already got it forming. They take such a small amount of time. Don't hold me to this, but it's like 30 to 45 days, right?
I think it's like 60.
Is that long? Either way, it's the quickest item that you can grow to get to maturity. And as you all can tell, we're gonna be having radishes run out of our ears.
I love them.
Radishes are one of our favorite snacks. Just straight raw. We like it with a little ranch. You just kind of dip it in. It's nice to kind of have on the table, just get a bunch out, snack on them when you're kind of feeling that urge. But they're healthy. You know, it's better to grab a radish with a little bit of ranch than say a piece of pizza.
Right. They also last a really long time in the fridge too. So you can grow a whole bunch like that, put them in the fridge. I always put them in a Ziploc baggie, but I leave it open and put them in a drawer, and they last basically forever. Not really, but a really long time.
Yeah, and then if you do want to try to preserve them in some way, you can ferment them for sure and make them pickled as well.
We planted these shallots before we had the dogs in the fence, and Zena dug them all up. So we kind of counted them out and didn't want to worry about it. So I wanted to go ahead and plant calendula in here so we can get our calendula going again, because we had to leave that at our old place. We've been using what we had left over, but now we've got all this calendula. We started this from seed indoors and we transplanted it. And then over here, I just threw seeds everywhere. And then of course the shallots took place. So we've got shallots and calendula.
Y'all know that book, Tomatoes Love Carrots or Carrots Love Tomatoes or whatever it is? We're gonna write a book, Calendula Loves Shallots.
You walk too fast.
So what I mean by people telling you that you're wrong so much that you might be right is we fall into this situation of a status quo and what's right and thinking that that's the only way things that could be possibly done. And then you realize, I'm just thinking differently. And this way can work too. Such massive growth in this greenhouse. Look at that, y'all.
Look at that tail.
Right, we need to get to eating. So here are all of our co-crops that we have going on. This is, I think this is cabbage. Yeah, this is cabbage over here. I keep jokingly calling this lactose kale.
Lacinato.
Lacinato. It's real long. That's what the kale looks like. And then here is Russian red, so it's more of your normal, huge, big green leaves with a little purple spine. So do y'all remember that video where we talked all about the Choi Cabbage? Well, this is the one that we cut off of, and look at it compared to ones we haven't touched. You almost can't even tell the difference. So it's such a great cut and come plant that you can enjoy for a really long time. And surprisingly, as we're getting hotter, these co-crops are still looking really good. Doesn't look like they're anywhere close to bolting. We should be able to get all the way through to actually get a head of cauliflower, head of broccoli, head of cabbage. So that's really exciting. A lot of this stuff though, as we eat it, we'll also be taking it to the farmer's market because it's always good to have a little fresh produce there. So a lot of that's where it'll be going.
So last night on our live, we talked about our goals for April. We always set goals for every month, but one of those goals is making sure that all these tomatoes and peppers and flowers, everything gets up potted in this month so that next month everything will be ready to go in the ground after our last freeze, which should be around Mother's Day, but that is a test. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. There's a lot of plants in here, so we're just trying to up pot when we can and try and make a habit of it every day, basically.
So all of these tomatoes up here that we got going on, and these flowers, look, our marigolds are starting to bloom in here. We got some more tomatoes that are over there, are coming from these big cell seed trays. So that's what I was trying to explain to you all. Jim and I was, look, that's only like 5 rows of this, and we have all these to go. Now, not all of these came from that, but a lot of them did. So you don't realize how many tomatoes you truly got going on until you start up potting. So just be conscious of that when you're doing it. But I think one of the coolest parts about this is, for example, this row was probably a week ago. This was yesterday. And so it shows you how fast they start growing once you actually get them up potted and they have more room to grow. Like this lemon boy right here is huge and strong and looking great. And here are all of our peppers. They're doing really good. Their stems are getting really strong. They're probably getting close to being next on the docket to up pot. These are the ones that we did in the cups that we posted out. And so we had pretty good germination, but to be honest, y'all, these are the ones we just put in soil and had them on a heat mat under a grow light, and they had much better germination. And it's basically the same kind of peppers. Another fun fact, we cut our first comfrey yesterday and have it hanging so we can make comfrey salve. We talked about that in our live, but here's what it looks like. So if you're cutting comfrey, you just cut it down on the stems like you would anything, and it's just gonna keep growing back and getting more prolific, and it doesn't take any time. They go so fast. What's up, ducks? What's up, ducks? Thank you all for continuing to obey the rules.
Have another day.
What's up, turks? Good morning. Good morning.
You're so cute. Oh, turkey noises.
Let's have a conversation about heritage breed turkeys and turkeys in general. Number 1, they cannot fly. Turkeys cannot fly, heritage breed ones. If they do, they get about 1 to 2 foot once they're full size. Heritage breeds and meat laying breeds get so heavy, their wings cannot support their weight. So kind of like a chicken, if they're up high, they can glide down. They can jump a little, but your turkeys will not fly. Not happening. Neither will ducks. Number 2, turkeys do not like coops, period, at all. You can build it, they will not go in it. Unless you trap them in there and they are not able to get out, they don't want to be in coops whatsoever. Ask me how I know. The third round of turkeys. Last 2 sets, all had coops. They all slept outside. They prefer it. They feel safe. Where you going? Where you going? Number 3, they do like to roost. They love it. They like getting off the ground. So when you hear people talking about their turkeys sleeping in trees, going away, stuff like that, that's because they probably don't have something to get off the ground on. So they're finding their own place to roost. That's what they're gonna do. Guineas will do the same thing. They like to roost as well, and they like to get real high. Now, if you don't give them a possibility for that, they're gonna find it somewhere else. So as long as you're giving them a roost and giving them what they enjoy, they won't get in a tree. Lastly, predators. Okay, so besides your common raccoons, weasels, stuff like that that's on the ground, this electrical fence, I promise you, if you're interested in getting into it, it will keep them out. It has been fail-proof for us, absolutely fail-proof for the past 3 years. Nothing gets in there. Yes, ours is not electrified because our entire property is completely fenced in. We have dogs and cats that roam throughout the night out here, and we have guineas right in front of them that help keep prey away. So our LGDs, our cat, our guineas, all help keep predators pushed back because that's all around this fenced in area. Flying predators, hawks, owls, eagles, they're not gonna bother your turkeys. I'm calling you right now, they won't bother them. Now what do I mean by that? If they're tiny babies, tiny little turkey chicks, they will swoop them right up. They will get them because they're light and they're easy to grab. When they get to this stage, they may look small. Each bird is already pushing a solid 5 to 6 pounds at this stage of life. So that gets too heavy for a hawk. Hawks won't worry about that. That's the same thing with the chickens. They will not take a full-size chicken because that's too heavy for them. They like getting the smaller birds. They like grabbing the smaller birds up. I promise you this is facts. If a hawk does try to grab a bigger one, it might try, but it will drop that chicken slash turkey slash guinea. So, not a huge concern for turkeys with your flying predators because they are so large, and literally in about a week, these things are gonna triple in size. They go so fast, even heritage breeds, not just meat ones, that you don't have to worry so badly about flying predators. Just make sure you put them outside when they have a good amount of weight on them. They'll stay away. If that makes you nervous, grab you some guineas with your turkeys. Guineas are the best flying predator control that you will ever see in your life. They will make all the, when they have that noise and you're like, what are they getting crazy about? It's usually a flying predator that you do not see, but the guineas do. So the guineas are great about making a bunch of noise, herding all the animals in to safety, and keeping those flying predators away. I lied. And lastly, the tractor. That everyone, for the most part, feels like this is not gonna work for turkeys. Let me express to you, it will. It will be great. This is not something that I created just off the top of my head. I used a lot of ideas, including Joe Salatin's idea, on how to make a turkey tractor. So yes, this is something that has been done before, is proven to work, with slight adjustments that we decided that we want to do a little bit differently. But that's part of what we wanted to talk about with thinking differently.
So why are we addressing these concerns? Not because we want to be right, not because we want to prove comments wrong or people wrong. It's because we don't want people that want to do this, we don't want them to see those comments and think that they can't do it too, because it's just simply not right. If you want to do something different, always do it. Step outside the box. Everything is trial and error, and everything's about experience. And we tell you from our experience. We're not telling you from just flying off the seat of our pants. Yes, we've never had this turkey shop, but we did have a coop for them at the old place. Hated it, and they stayed outside of it. They slept out there. They laid their eggs out there, and they never went in it, and they never got attacked by anything.
They actually lived in our backyard for most of their life.
Yeah, with the gate open also, and they never left.
So you hear things like, do it like Joe Salatin did it, or do it like this person did it, or do it like that person did it. And yes, it's good to look at those things and take some advice. But the biggest thing that I want to tell you all is Joe Salatin became so popular and famous and very productive because he thought differently. Mm-hmm. He doesn't farm like your old generation farmers do. He just doesn't do that. He thought, what's a different way to try to make this work at maybe a better process? So y'all, if we just stop thinking there and think that Joe Salatin has solved all the farming problems, we'll never grow. And y'all, we have every Joe Salatin book there is, including his coop design book that has everything from sheep stalls to turkey coops to chicken coops to rabbit hutches, everything. We've seen it. A turkey tractor that's similar to that one is in that book. It's so, I mean, so what I'm getting at is, don't think because you've seen it work in one way, and maybe you saw something like this and it didn't work for those people, doesn't mean that the structure doesn't work. It might mean that their process didn't work.
Right.
So take this thought process outside of farming. Well, before we get there, let's talk about real quickly our process with animals. Animals, like, they'll get away. They'll get out of pens, they'll run away. If there's something missing, if there's something that they're wanting that they're not happy with, they're gonna go find it other places. So one of the biggest things that we do that's been fail-proof is we've been told that we overfeed, but we've also never had an animal leave. So we are very, have our due diligence on feeding in the morning and in the afternoon within the time frames. I've talked about this a lot, and never missing one. Never pushing them too far. Our animals eat before we eat because we want to make sure that they're safe, happy, and comfortable so they don't leave.
Another thing is the animals that we raise are always in our line of sight. From every single window in the house, you can see the animals, you can see their coops, their shelters, and you can see that if something's wrong or if everything's right. And we always do that. You know, if you stick some animals out in the woods and you can't see them and you're not walking by them every day multiple times, then yes, something will happen. They will probably leave because they won't be getting that attention. They won't be seeing you and knowing that they're safe. You probably won't be feeding them at the exact times because they're too far away. You're going to forget. It's just really, really important to always have your animals in your line of sight.
Even T-Bird.
Even T-Bird.
So think outside of farming. Think about life in general. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of a lot of stuff that has like the finger pointing thing going on. But what we see is a lot of people not thinking outside of the box, not thinking differently, and not challenging that status quo that they're being told is right. So with thinking differently, we have to be able to think for ourselves. You have to get out of that mirror of just doing as others do and as others say.
Or doing what you're told.
Right. That's not saying go disobey the law or don't do something. Let's just pause the pandemic talk. Like, I know I said that word. Like, don't think that way. Think it in life in general. You just gotta get out of it.
Always ask questions. Don't let people tell you that just because it's different than they do it or it's not the way that they've been told to do it, that you can't do it. Always ask questions. Always say, wait, why? What do you mean? You know, I can't go back with my kid, or, you know, I have to go sit in the car, or I can't see where they're going. No, that doesn't work for me, and it shouldn't work for you. Always question why their policies are in place, because 99% of the time they're not going to have an answer for you. They don't know. They're just following what they think that they're supposed to do. If more people questioned, the world would be a whole lot better place right now.
So y'all, that's it for today. Turkeys and life.
Turkeys and life. Turkeys are life.
Turkeys are life. And garden. Think differently. Don't always say, no, that won't work. Think about how something may work in a long-term fashion, how something different may work, and see it. Try it. Test it out. Don't have fear that something won't work just because someone else told you it would.
And keep your eye on it. If you're trying something new, don't walk away from it. Don't turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on it and make sure that everything's going right.
And then if it doesn't, adjust. Bye, y'all.
Love you.